Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Before we get started in today's video, don't forget to join our free Facebook community, get real answers to real credit questions, learn from some of the experts in our industry, as well as from other people that are in similar situations that are taking advantage of the free content and improving their credit and making their credit situation better. Hope to see you guys on the inside.
So, someone that I know recently sold their house, and in the process of their house being sold, the mortgage was paid off and it was marked as closed. Now, this actually caused their credit score to drop 40 points, and they were caught off guard. They thought that paying off the house was a good thing, and so they reached out and wanted to know why this happened and, of course, how to fix it. So, today we're going to talk about that plus a whole lot more on today's episode of the Joe Credit Show. And finally, speaking about paid and closed accounts, be sure to check out another video that I did on should you close out that old unused credit card by clicking on the link in this video. All right, let's dive into the topic today. So why would a credit score drop after a mortgage is paid off? This is a good event, right? You paid off the house, or you sold one and bought another one, right? We're thinking this should be a good event. Well, it could be one of three different reasons. So number one, because the account is paid and closed, your credit is no longer diversified. Mix of credit is a good component of your FICO score. Number two, it could also be something to do with the balances. Maybe this mortgage account was your only account with a low balance to limit ratio, and now that it's paid, it's no longer being included in your balance category of your FICO score. And three, it could be something completely else. Maybe something you're not aware of, maybe a new inquiry, maybe a credit card balance is reported higher than normal. It could be one of these three things, and we're going to unpack each one of these a little bit further. All right, let's talk about that first reason, the diversification of credit accounts. So mix of credit is going to account for 10% of a FICO score. And credit scoring models, they like it whenever you have a diverse mix of credit, meaning different types of credit accounts. So for example, a good example of a healthy, diverse credit portfolio would be one mortgage, one auto, and like 3 to 5 different revolving accounts or credit cards. And the reason why this is important, the reason why this matters, is because this shows your ability to handle different types of credit accounts at the same time. So it's not like you just have a bunch of mortgages, so we don't know how you're going to behave with credit cards, or you have a bunch of credit cards and we don't know how you're going to behave with installments like mortgages and car loans. And so if the mortgage that was recently just paid off is your only installment account on your credit, then you might lose some points here, because now you went from having a mortgage and a couple credit cards, an installment and a couple revolving accounts. Now you don't have any installment accounts open, only credit cards, and therefore your credit report is no longer as diverse as it was before. So another reason why the score may have dropped has to do with the balance component of a FICO score. So balances account for 30% of a FICO score. So it's a pretty big component of someone's score. And so when that mortgage account, let's say it was like 50% paid off, right? You had the mortgage for 10, 15 years, it was about halfway done. And let's say all the other accounts you have, like maybe some credit cards and things like that, they're also maybe about the same. And so when that mortgage has been paid and closed, it's going to affect the overall balance to limit or balance to original amount ratio, because it's paid off, it's closed, it's no longer part of that equation. And so therefore the total balance part of your FICO score is going to fluctuate, because that almost paid off mortgage is no longer there. Now now FICO really only has your open credit cards to go off of, and FICO places a heavier emphasis on how you pay credit cards, right? And how you keep those balances each and every month. So with the paid off mortgage out of the equation, and only FICO judging you based on credit card balances, that's going to have somewhat, or could have somewhat of a negative effect to your credit score. You combine that maybe also with the fact that your credit is no longer diversified. If you paid off a mortgage and you saw your score drop 20, 30, maybe 50 points, hopefully not that much, but it's going to be probably connected to one or two of those scenarios that I just mentioned. Or it could be reason number three. So lastly, reason number 3, it could be something that you're not thinking about. Maybe there was a couple hard inquiries that just reported to your credit. Like if you're in the process of shopping for a car and a house, doing a couple different things, and you had your credit ran a couple different times, it could be a variety of different hard inquiries, maybe also mixed in with number 1 and number 2 reason that I just mentioned. Because hard inquiries obviously will lower your score to some degree. If your credit is still diverse, but that mortgage is paid off, maybe the credit card balances that you have are a little higher than normal. Maybe in the process of buying your, or that house being paid off, and maybe you buying another one, maybe use your credit cards a little bit more than you normally do, and then the credit cards reported at a higher balance than they normally are. That also is going to cause your credit score to go down. So maybe it's not reason 1, maybe it's not reason 2, maybe it's something else that you're not thinking about. Again, it's usually going to be 1 or 2. Usually it's going to be connected to one of those issues, but it could also be something that you're not thinking about. Okay, so now that we uncovered the possible root cause of what made that score go down after the mortgage was paid off, let's talk about things that you can do quickly to raise your score back up. So number 1 is going to be do nothing, right? Because let's say your score went down because you no longer have a diverse, credit portfolio because the mortgage was paid off. But if you're in the process of buying another house, well, just wait a month or 2 because that new mortgage is going to report to your credit report again. So you'll be, back to being diverse all over again. So, my theory here is do nothing, just wait a little bit because you're going to have a mortgage come right back on your credit report. Now, are you going to recover the points that you lost, entirely? Maybe not, because one factor is going to be the balances, because maybe your previous mortgage was halfway paid off. Now you have a new mortgage, and of course it's going to be at 100% of the balance to original amount, unless you put 10% or 20% down. But more than likely, or you put a lot of equity into that new house. But if the balances are kind of equal on the new mortgage account, then theoretically you actually could get the close to, if not the full amount of points you just lost, just by waiting for that new mortgage to report to your credit report. A second reason would be if you have open credit cards and those balances are a little bit higher than normal, then pay all those credit cards down to 1%. So again, since balances make up 30% of your FICO score, and credit card companies report information once per month, if those credit cards balances are high and they haven't reported for the month you're currently in, because they report generally right when the statement closes, you're going to want to go ahead and pay those balances down as much as you possibly can, as fast as possible. So FICO loves to see credit utilization at 1%. So for example, if you have a $1,000 credit card, getting that credit card balance to $10, which is 1%, that's going to really help raise your credit score. You would think a 0 balance would be better, but FICO's algorithm prefers a 1% balance over a 0 balance. And I guess the logic behind it is when you have a 0 balance, it doesn't really display if you're using the account or not, if you're really relying on credit or how you manage credit, because you can have a paid off account that you don't use for months at a time. Whereas a 1%, obviously there is some intention to the credit card going on, it's being used, it's being paid on, things like that. And then basically you have, the best balance you can possibly have on that open revolving account. So FICO's algorithm prefers a 1% balance over a 0 balance. Okay, guys, well, that is my time today. I hope this information was helpful to some degree. If you did find the video helpful, please give me a big thumbs up. Also, remember to drop any credit-related questions you have in the comment section below. I will pick a couple of those to make my next video to talk about different credit obstacles my community is going through. Also, don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos. This has been another episode of The Joe Credit Show. I'm Joe Chavarria. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care.